What are you playing through here?
We got our hands on Dwayne Allman's amp that he played live at the Fillmore. It's probably the biggest holy grail amp in our business. It said Allman Brothers Macon, Georgia on the back. When Dickie started playing 100 watts, he gave it to a guy named McCorkle.
We're talking Marshall here now.
Yeah, well, it was a Marshall Plexi 50. I'm not supposed to be using that name, but you were allowed.
No, you didn't say it.
Okay,
you said Farshall. Farshall has you.
I said Marshall. I broke the H off.
Yeah,
right,
okay.
So, there used to be Mad Shells and Marshnalls for sale in Japan when I first started going there, but that's a whole nother story.
Oh, this industry, nobody sues anybody in this industry.
That's
nobody.
Not true. I got sued. That's not true.
No, that was rumored, the single cut and everything. Henry Gibson and you guys are...
Shut up! This is on film. Kevin, you just stop right now. All right, hang on.
Okay, it's a friendly industry. It really is.
Okay, so we got our hands on this old Plexi, and we were stunned that it sounded exactly like... if you remember, at the beginning, the Whipping Post has a lot of bass. Did you ever notice that?
Well, Barry Oakley, you mean?
No, I'm talking about the guitar player who's going... bass, right? And we opened the amp and we were stunned. It was a 50-watt super bass. It wasn't a lead amp.
No way.
Yeah, it was a suit. It was, and that's what they were in '67. These things. And so, you know, as they changed parts over time, the guys were saying it's too bassy. They wanted more gain. They wanted more high, and it became a super lead. And so we put the switches on the amp that were what Hendrix had used. What he was doing was using the same amp for Wind Cries Mary as he was using for Foxy Lady. So then, and we started to play around with it. You know, I turned it up. This thing sounds just like Foxy Lady as well, which is kind of neat. I'll just do the beginning.
And I'm so old, I saw the Allman Brothers' first concert at a Fillmore. I saw Hendrix. So,
yeah, and time out. That, did you notice he was only playing through the treble channel?
Who are we talking about, Hendrix?
No, we're talking about Dwayne Allman.
No, well, the thing that sticks out in my mind is, first of all, you know, I'm a kid going up there, and I get there, and there's 2 drum sets set up.
Yeah.
So that freaks me out.
Yeah, right.
And there's all Marshall stacks across there. And, you know, back then, Marshall stack was a big deal.
Yeah.
I'm 16.
Yeah, right.
Those boys come out, and they parted my hair, and then they moved the amp, and the backs were off, and they had eight JBLs in each of those things, man. Yeah. They were kicking some booty back there, let me tell you. that show made an impression on me.
Those D120s? Those were D120s. Very speed. Were they gray?
Where I was sitting, they were just JBLs. I'm back, you know. Dwayne wasn't inviting me on stage. I mean, Albert King they opened for Albert King, and I forget, you know, it was an amazing show.
There's some good Albert King stories. So this is called an HXDA, and we're selling a lot of them. It's going very well for us. I would say it's the fastest selling amp we have. I sold that on the first day of this trip, and it's got to go back to the guy who sold it to me. Literally, it didn't last a day.
So if we had to sum up what you're doing, you're taking history and you're making it now.
Well, I was in diapers in 1958, Kevin.
Yeah.
I mean, 1958 is debatably the greatest year of vintage guitars because it's a blur somewhere around there, okay? So I'm 2 years old. I'm not invited to that party. And a lot of what you see in music stores are reflections of what happened back then. We're trying to do something new. We're not trying to do a reflection of, you know, what was going on for us then. So we have our own proprietary tuning pegs, our own proprietary nut materials, inlays, pickups, bridges. Did you see the little brass inserts in the bridge?
No, I did not. Oh, wow.
I mean, that's one of the reasons this guitar sounds so musical.
And I'm supposed to know what I'm doing. Excuse me, everybody. There are little brass inserts in there.
Yeah, that's right. So on Paul's guitar, it's actually very hard to do brass inserts, so that the beginning of the vibration of the string is brass, not aluminum, right?
Yeah.
And then it's a guitar ring. It's just ringing like crazy. And that's without the amp on. So whether it be finishes or whatever, we're trying to do something that's our own thing, and it's going pretty
Yeah, your
well.
finish. What is your V12 finish?
Okay, so This is nitro on the private stock.
Okay.
So nitrocellulose is cotton put into nitric acid. It makes a goo, all right? Cellulose in nitric acid, that's where it starts. And they tie it together with something called coconut alkyd. It literally comes from coconut shells. V12 is nitro tied together with plexiglass. And so it's just a binder. This stuff doesn't crack like nitro. It gets shatter hard. If I take a razor blade to this thing, it's going to shatter. I think the worst day in guitar making history was the day that bumpers on cars were made out of rubber instead of chrome. Because when they were made out of chrome, you hit the bumper, fine. But then, when they were made out of rubber and you hit it, the paint needed to bend in and bend out. So they were adding all this non-drying oil to the paint to make it flexible. That's not good for musical instruments. You don't want to deaden the guitar.
Yeah. You
don't want to deaden the guitar. So you want something that's going to vibrate with the guitar and not deaden it. As an exaggeration, here, I'll show you, Kevin. This guitar is not being deadened by the paint. I'll try to deaden it. It still won't stop. I'm trying to shut it up and it won't shut up. Now I'm telling you, you don't want to put the car paint on this guitar that is for a bumper that bends. Now when Leo Fender was making guitars, he would go down the street to the GM dealership and buy paint. They were using DuPont Duco colors, right? So the same thing was going on a car, and a refrigerator was going on a Fender.
Yeah.
That doesn't work for us anymore. So when you ask about that paint, that's something we had formulated with a company here in California. We were really happy with it.
And if they can spray it in California, that'd be nice.
I don't know about the laws here. You got some very interesting laws in this country. Well, I called it a separate country, didn't I? California.
Well, first of all, we're Northern California, so let's not confuse that with Southern California.
Is that different?
Oh, yes, it's wildly different. Yes, definitely.
Are you like Texas, so you guys want to secede?
No, we're part of the Union, but it's a different vibe up here. No offense to anybody from LA. I have great friends that live down there.
Carlos didn't come out.
I know, I think he's intimidated.
I think there's another door, because they're getting ready to start, aren't they?
Yeah, shortly. Well, Paul, I know...
Would you explain this to me? Would you explain why I'm sitting on a Fender chair?
Man, we're going to have to work on this dressing room. I just want to say thank you so much for dropping by Gelb Music. It's just been such a pleasure, and let's go talk to some customers.
All right, fair enough.